What's up, guys? Good to have you again. And winning a Premier League match doesn't really seem as it always, but who cares? We've got the win, and yeah, and that's what happens when you've got the Liverpool crest straight down from Anfield, yeah, into the competition, and it was a win under Robertson Sanchez, and I got this off. A competition on Twitter. Seems nasty, but I'm so delighted to put it on. Oh man. Yeah, so happy to grab our first win in weeks in the UEFA in the almost saying the Champions League again. Can we just play the Champions League every week? Um the Premier League, of course, courtesy of a lone goal from Diego Jota, grabbing maximum 3 points, and my start of the day, of course, I start with that was Ozan Kabak putting a hell of a performance. Pathline Nathaniel Phillips again, uh, who also was a beast of the day, but I'll pick Kabak. He was rather composed than Nathaniel Phillips. And Klopp went into the game with a starting lineup unchanged. Uh, the one that played at the Budapest National Stadium against RB Leipzig in the midweek action of the UEFA Champions League. And only Divock Origi was out on an injury, and of course he was on the bench, but we didn't have him in the matchday squad. And again, Roberto Firmino missed the matchday squad, and it was of course a 3-0 encounter. And Lest I forget, this video is of course sponsored by the Football for Life show, and from my end and everyone at the FFS, we do wish Rui Patricio a speedy recovery. He had a knock on his head yesterday, similar to what happened to Raul Jimenez, who also had a head collision with David Luiz in the encounter against Arsenal earlier in the season. But we all hope it's fine, and we wish him a very, very speedy recovery. That aside, Sadio Mane, speaking of him, he was also rather sharp yesterday, and uh, we saw a much improved game from him, unlike what we had in the previous weeks, looking tired, looking as if it's all done for the season. But I'm sure these guys are still very much more energetic, and they've got a lot to play for. So we've got the Champions League, we've got the top four considerably. So yeah, it's still a lot to play for, most especially the UEFA Champions League. It's always a different ball game, and you never might know what would happen. And also, speaking of Virgil van Dijk, I'm sorry, this has got to be muddled up. A lot of points muddled in my head. Virgil van Dijk, sadly, with Yusuf Gomez, and Yo Matip won't be returning this to the end of the season, but preferably the a much rejuvenated back trio we would see next season, as they've also been ruled out of the Euros in the summer, courtesy of Klopp's decision. Yeah, so we get to see a new front three in the uh, in the upcoming season, 2021-2022 season. Yeah, so no rush about the back three. Nathaniel Phillips was good, of course, yesterday, and he had uh, this big moment of header where he had to clear that off Neto's head. Of course, if not, it would have been on plate for Neto, who would have in turn converted. And also with the penalty claim, Alison Becker, Nelson Semedo, Saga, I would rather pick that as not a penalty, but I would say we're a bit lucky not to have that as a penalty. And yeah, let's talk about the goal. The goal from Diego Jota, the build up to the goal, the Nathaniel Phillips header, the pass to from Salah to Mane, from Mane to Salah rather, and from Salah back to Mane, and from Mane to Diego Jota, who in turn converted and scored beautifully. I tweeted on my account yesterday. It was just one. I quoted a retweet from the Redman TV, who uh, and I quote, uh, Jota scores against his former team as the Molinos back, and I quoted the tweet to be Jota with just one at the Molinos back seems suspicious. Should have got more, yeah. Had a couple of chances to score more. Same was Mo Salah as always. He gets the chances, but and the most beautiful of them he could have scored in the first half, but it's all fine. We grabbed maximum 3 points, first win in 5 or 4 Premier League games, I guess. Not bad for a 1-0 victory coming from a victory in the UEFA Champions League during the midweek action, and we might just have a new a new a new big signing in the summer, as the FSD has promised. That that would be a big major signing, uh, more concentrated, a center forward in the summer. So we might just see a decentralized Roberto Firmino if the team decides to keep him in the squad. But I doubt if Divock Origi might be staying. Not nah. So and speaking of our midfield yesterday, it was rather too loose than expected. Same midfield trio that started against RB Leipzig: Thiago Alcantara, Fabinho back in the midfield, and Gino Wijnaldum, of course, as captain. And we didn't see really much of Phillips, of Wijnaldum rather yesterday. And a lot of people are starting to believe, why can't we just let him go in the summer, and we get a really uh, agile, young, and active midfielder. Of course, is one of the best. He's got one of the best workforce in the Liverpool squad. His work is really underrated, but a lot of people think, let this guy go, bring in a new, fresh guy that's gonna exert the pressure in the midfield and expand Liverpool's style of play and bring out the quality, the real quality in these strikers. And speaking of Thiago Alcantara again, he's getting booked often these days. A lot of people are of the opinion, oh, I place a bet on Thiago. He's gonna get a yellow card, and of course he gets a yellow card. Got a yellow card on after I found on Thiago yesterday. It's been coming though. He's got 3 fouls before the booking, but it's uh, it tends to happen when you switch sides. The transition between leagues sometimes. In his first game, he conceded a penalty, but was lucky to have the ball saved by Alisson Becker. A game which we went on to win 2 goals to 0 at the Stamford Bridge, and you could tell from his face, from his facial expression, that he's not really satisfied with the officiating in England, bro. You've got to adapt. You're in a new team, yeah. So better words for him. Play safe, Thiago, and I hope you don't get booked twice in the game, result into a red card, or you just go for a straight red. I hope that doesn't happen real time soon. And speaking of Fabinho, he was really much of an influence on Thiago, rather improving and bringing out the real boy game in him. But it's all fine. We got the win, most importantly, and we hope to reciprocate that against Arsenal when we will be playing against them at Anfield. No, yeah, at the Emirates Stadium. We won at Anfield 3 goals to 1, where Jose got his debut goal. So it's gonna be Arsenal next in the Emirates Stadium. So I do hope they replicate that form, and coming from the international break, it's gonna be a really different ball game. But I do hope we pull up a stunner, because hey, it's stuns these days if we win. So if we win by a very 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 good performance, slim and narrow win for us yesterday. Wolves got a couple of chances. Ruben Neves almost fired into the net, just a bit off the range, and Neto also penalized our defense and pressurized them rather, and we're lucky to get off it, and we grabbed the maximum 3 points, most importantly. So maybe in the next match squad, we would be seeing a Roberto Firmino returning to the Liverpool squad, and who else might we just be seeing real soon? Not necessarily no new additions for now. Of course, the back trio of Van Dijk, Gomez, and Matip are um, major likely to be out of the season. Yeah, so we might not see any more of them this season. Let's just focus on what we've got and put on our best performance. And it's also very, very happy to have Thierry Henry back on the Premier League TV's Sky Sport News yesterday. Couldn't get of himself, had to pick on Jamie Carragher. Of course, they were apart by almost 2 meters, and he had to tease on him, saying, of course, just as they would be in the game as always. But it's been almost 2.5 years since we last saw Thierry Henry on our TVs, on our screens. But he's back, and he said something about Liverpool's defense yesterday. He said it's of course because Van Dijk is absent, Gomez is absent, and Matip is absent, and the other players have failed to put into their shoes or fill their spaces. He rather said they failed to step in, like the other players have failed to step into their shoes and make things right. But he said we're gonna be fine, and I quote. And of course, I do believe we're gonna be fine. And so much to play for us this season. Still a top four. Everton lost, favored us. Yosei lost to us now in the North London derby, surprisingly favored us. And West Ham lost to Manchester United, courtesy of a late minute goal. United. I still have the feeling they're gonna fall off. So that this celebration will be temporary, and let's get back on track. Let's make this season right. We still can get something very, very important of this. Erwin Haaland, we might just see him in Liverpool at the end of the season. That was a tweet from Clubholic on Twitter. Don't know how true that might be, but we might just see Erwin Haaland, the goal machine in Liverpool. Yeah, so I'll catch you in the next one, and peace. Keep loving Liverpool, yeah.